had to walk out of church today over comments about Charlie Kirk. I'm on the verge of tears sitting in this parking lot because I'm having such a complex with my faith. Because I genuinely don't understand how Christians are pushing this man as though hate come out of his mouth and heart on a consistent basis. If this is the God we serve, if this is the reflection of the God we serve, do I want to be a part of it? I'm truly having a conflict with my faith because the leaders that we're supposed to be following are guiding us in this way to feel empathy and sympathy, and like that this person was this great Christian life gave was it's praising. Did we miss the chapter of hate that encouraged? I don't know where to go from here. I don't. To spew hate and hide yourself behind a Bible, to me, is not something I want to be a part of, and it's not the faith I want to be a part of. So what do? I got up out of church and walked out. Within myself, sitting here, is like, to what do? I don't want him to be a reflection of what I believe.
So telling Black people that they need to stop playing the victim and that they have the same freedom and that they can be a great person, have the same rights as the next white person, is not spewing hate. Acknowledging the family structure problem in the Black community is not spewing hate. He's spitting facts. Black women and men need to get back to God and marriage instead of sleeping around and just creating babies that are going to end up just in single mother households without their fathers. Charlie Kirk was saying was Black people need to stop using excuses. We weren't in slavery. Those were our ancestors. We're not in the times of segregation. He said the family structure was better in the segregation. Not that we should continue in segregation. I think a lot of what he said was misunderstood by Black people, but that we need to get out and take opportunity that is given to us, not because of the color of our skin, but because we have the same opportunity as the white man, the white woman, or anybody else. We have to apply ourselves and get educated like everyone else, and then create our families. Go be great. That's what he was saying. That's not spreading hate. He then said that certain jobs and certain positions have to make certain quotas when it comes to hiring minorities or Black men, in this case with pilots. He said, so when he sees a Black pilot, he wonders, is he there because he has the merit or skill for it, or is he just a DEI hire? That is a legitimate concern that I would have as a Black person, whether it was a pilot or a train driver, taxi driver. If you're just hired because of the color of your skin, even if you look like me and you don't know how to do your job and my life is in jeopardy, you can't fly this plane, drive this train, drive my Uber, I am concerned. I don't want you driving me. I don't want to die. That's a legitimate concern. And because a lot of these jobs are just hiring people to meet their race quotas or minority number list, they're whatever the maximum of minorities they have to make, that's a legitimate concern. Him saying that some of the Black female, cashiers are unprofessional or unruly. Well, you could just get on YouTube and see Black women being ghetto, being unprofessional toward each other. So it's very likely that we would do that to a white man or anybody else as well. That's a fact. Here, the fact that we were doing better during the times of segregation, family-wise, is a fact. Not because of segregation, but the father was there. That is not spreading hate. Charlie wanted to see Black people wake up, stop playing the victim, and realize that we do have the opportunity. We aren't victims. We're not still in slavery. We're not still in segregation. He didn't want us to stay segregated. He wanted the fathers to come back to the Black community. He wants us to get back to godly principles and marriage. He wants us to realize that, Native Americans suffered, but I believe he was saying some of them are doing well. He was saying Asians went through sufferings and hardships too, but they're owning businesses. And he said the same thing for Hispanics. So he said, why are the blacks the only one that are choosing to replace fathers and to settle for victim and replace fathers with welfare and food stamps and housing and government assistance instead of owning businesses and being great like all the other minorities as a whole, right? Because we know we do have black captains and black lawyers, doctors, teachers, pilots that are there for their merit. But because we have so many others that choose the race card, they choose to stay in the hood or choose to stay limited because for some reason they don't have the same opportunity as the white man or anybody else because they're black and there's already 3 strikes against them. He was preaching against that mentality for those that are like that to wake up and realize nothing is holding you back but you. You have the same opportunity I have. If you ask me, we even have more because they're just going to give us the job for being black in some cases. In some cases, right? Affirmative action, DEI hires. The chief of firefighters in California, a woman of color, said she wouldn't rescue a straight white man in the fire. She would rather wait to see somebody gay come rescue her. She'd probably let them die. The lady that's I don't know if she's a senator, governor, something of California. When those fires spread in California, she was supposed to be having security measures in place so people wouldn't be losing their house or lives. She's all on vacation and she came back and she could care less. She could care less about them. Why? Because these are all examples of DEI hires. When he talked about certain black Democratic women that are DEI hires and some of them that really don't care about black folks but are just there to preach to the black Democrats and keep them limited while they get rich, he was speaking facts. He didn't say black woman. He was speaking specifically about certain Democratic black women that really are just there to preach black victimization, black liberalism, black democratic party stuff and preach all this racism to y'all while they get rich and we stay poor and we stay on government assistance. Meanwhile, they living on the other side of town in gated communities. Meanwhile, they got their degrees, their PhDs and everything else, but they're telling you that you can't do anything because you're a black American or that you're limited. Meanwhile, they went to Harvard, Yale, and everything else. Meanwhile, their children are going to private schools, but they're telling black people that you're limited because the world is racist against you when you have more opportunity at the end of the day. If they're hiring you based off the color of your skin and not even your merit, how are you limited? So he wasn't preaching hate. He was preaching facts about the black community, and he was preaching Jesus everywhere he went. And you can listen to the video I'm about to play in the next 3 minutes to hear that part. And I agree with about 90% of what he said. For the small percentage I didn't agree with, it's not really a big deal because most of what he said was Christ-like and most of what he said was right. So here's the thing right here. If Charlie Kirk's passing away, this man that proclaimed the gospel to whatever university he went, who used politics to preach Jesus Christ and the Bible and to preach against a lot of the modern day sins like homosexuality, so-called transgender, and abortion. If that bothered you, you're not a true Christian in the first place. Second of all, if your pastor saying that we lost a brother in the faith and I guess basically allowing Christians to know, hey, something is going on in America. We lost a brother in the faith. They're trying to condemn the message of Christ. That's why they're silencing him. If that bothered you and that made you rethink serving Jesus Christ and say, is this the God of the Bible? Maybe do I want to serve him? Guess what? You were never a true child of God in the first place if those things offended you. Because the Bible says, my sheep hear my voice. When this pastor was talking about the things of God and Charlie Kirk, who was a man of God, you should have been able to relate to that. But because you put your blackness as an idol, and because Charlie Kirk spoke truth to the issues going on in the black community, whether we're talking about single mothers, black fathers not being there, or violence, and that a lot of the crimes do take place by black people because they are in poverty, because the fathers aren't there, and because you put that as an idol, you get offended when somebody that doesn't look like you has the nerve to speak the truth about your people because that's your God. You turned away from the true God and Bible, and now you're thinking that, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't serve this God. Well, you never served that God. Your God is the God of blackness. That's why you're confused, ma'am. Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. He said his glory he will not share with another. Beyonce said black is king. She's wrong. Black is beautiful, just like every other nationality. Black is unique and all that. But Jesus is king. He made black and everybody else, and we are all the same. But Christ is God, and he will not share his glory with anyone else. Right is right, wrong is wrong, no matter what color you are. Rest in peace to Charlie Kirk. He was a real man of God, and he proclaimed the gospel. But if this delusional woman was confused because the man of God was honoring Charlie Kirk in his death because he was saying he was a martyr and saying all the truth about this man of God, then sweetheart, if that's making you question your walk, and if you want to serve the God of the Bible, you are none of his in the first place. Blackness is your God. You've just been read, and that's on period. Christ is king. Christ rules. They weren't killing him for politics. They were killing him because of his message of Jesus Christ and how this book should dominate our life in the world, and that Jesus is God, nothing else, and that we should turn from sin and follow him, whether we're fornicators, homosexual, or abortionists. That is sin. That's why they killed him. That was the threat. Jesus is the threat to these people that are Jesus haters. Sounds to me like it's not Charlie Kirk that's the problem. Sounds to me like you're a Jesus hater. Sounds to me like you don't like the God of the Bible, the God who stands for holiness. That's what it sounds like to me. You've just been read.